Hey there, everybody. My name is the Dandy Man, and today we will be starting my first journey into both space and YouTube. I've always wanted to try YouTube, however, the problem is I've never had good enough equipment to try it or the time because I am currently a full-time engineering student at my college, which is a pain because there's no breathing room. So there's never been a good enough time for me to try YouTube. And I've always wanted to. So now it's the summer and I can finally take a break and try YouTube. Maybe to earn a little extra cash on the side, but mainly to blow off some steam. And what better game to start a new adventure on than Stellaris? This game just came out by Paradox. I only found it a couple days ago, and it looked beautiful. But so I had to end up getting it. I got the Nova edition, and I spent like the first day playing it, learning a couple things. And today we're gonna start a new game. One of the things I did the other day was we had the Narada centralized domains. This is like the exclusive for the Nova package if you had bought the Nova package. Uh, they are a despotic empire, so they're ruled over by an absolute ruler, which makes sense. Spiders, brood mother, all that stuff. They live on very arid, rocky world, which is great. Lots of places to hide and lots of shadows to jump out of. Um, they mainly use nuclear missiles in space, which is great. And I gave them hyperspace travel because hyperspace is generally a very quick thing for you to work on. The only problem with it is there are predetermined paths. So if there are two stars that are relatively close to each other, but they aren't linked by a hyperlane, you're going to have to do the long way around. They're rapid breeders, so their growth time, like settlements, each planet will have a certain amount of civilization or a certain number of civilians it can have. They grow faster. They're relatively weak, so their armies won't do very well on the ground. However, that doesn't mean that they still can't bomb you from space. And they're really incredibly intelligent. The cunning of the spider and all that. Their main star will be Siltaka Prime. Next up, one of the one for the pre-order is the Legion. This is essentially a growth symbiote that latches on to other creatures and connects them to the hive mind. They too are a despotic empire. They're all ruled by the hive mind. They're collectivist. Everyone has to be part of the Legion. And they're fanatic xenophobes. I had to do that because they don't like other races. I needed something that increase slave tolerance because that's pretty much how they get around. They latch onto you, burrow in, and take over your brain. So I need something with that. And xenophobia, they don't really like races. That works for two reasons. One, they're going to attack, and two, it made it so I could actually do the slave thing because that's essentially what they're all about. They're about getting you, breaking to their will, and then infecting your mind. They're decadent, so they don't do as well without slaves. They need essentially hosts. They're repugnant. Not a lot of people would be happy of having a giant tentacle fungus get shoved into your brain and taken over your mind. I don't think I would. And they're adaptive, so they can transfer from world to world. More worlds are accessible to them. They're more easily able to survive. And they're talented, and I pretty much did that so that their leaders can have extra skills so they're a harder enemy to fight in the end. Alright? They use mass drivers, which are electromagnetic projectile launchers. So they just shoot essentially railguns. Like that's pretty much what it is. They have railguns in space, and they use the warp travel. And this essentially creates a subspace around them that is then shot at light speed, and then they go light speed inside of it to go faster than light. However, the problem with that is it takes a while to start up, and you're kind of frozen for a bit as you're synced back into real time when you get out. But it's like the easiest way to travel. Like, we'll quickly go to the create new. Like, for starting weapons, you can have projectile, missile, or energy. The creatures we're going to be playing that I like will be starting with the energy weapons. The FTL method is warp travel, which is easiest. It's a warp drive generates a subspace bubble around a ship, making it faster than light speed attainable. This allows for free but relatively slow travel between stars, given the great distance involved. Then there was the hyperspace. The hyperspace drive allows ships to temporarily breach the dimensions of hyperspace. Interstellar travel is fast, but limited to existing points passed along the hyperline line, which is annoying as hell. I don't want to do that. So what I did for my race is I did wormholes, which is essentially you create a big space thing, and from it goes out in a radius, and everything in that radius you can jump to almost instantaneously. The only problem is you have to jump back to the point to jump to somewhere else. So if I wanted to go to a star, I'd have to go through wherever I put the wormhole generator to the star, and if I wanted to get back to like my home planet, I had to go from the star to the wormhole generator to my planet, unless my planet has the wormhole generator, and then just jump to the wormhole generator. I think actually this would be a good time to go over the creation of species. Species, there are primarily 6 that you can start from: mammals, reptiles, birds, bugs, snails, and funguses. Like, I liked all of these. Like, they're all really interesting. We will not be playing as boring old humans. We will be doing something else. But yeah, there's got like bat people and goats, or not. Yeah, I can't remember the name of that, but goats. And then they got like snapping turtles and just random appearances. Like, there are a lot of races out there, like penguins. Personally, though, this is another one I want to end up making a race for eventually, for a later villain. Maybe it's already in there. Who knows? Mollusks. I like this one too, or are in this one. And then funguses, which is literally funguses, which is very nice. Plants and all. I saw in Paradox's streams when they were doing the Blork thing that they had plants. I didn't want to be a plant. I liked that. I couldn't be one, so I had to settle for a fungus, but I wanted to try the plant, but it's not out yet. I don't know if there's going to be a patch or not. Then you name your planet or name your species, whatever the plural of them. So if you got multiple of one on one planet, and then the general adjective of what it is. Name list. You essentially choose what most likely things will end up looking like. Lots of different names. A lot of very hard to pronounce ones, so I'm probably going to be slipping up a lot during this game. You can choose their traits. You get 4 traits you can pick from total, and 2 points. Now that can either mean you only get 2 positive traits, which cost 1 point each, or you can get these negative traits, which will give you additional points. So if you want like one of the really big ones that are 4 to begin with, you gotta essentially take 2 negative traits and then the 1 big trait. Or if you want the super big traits, like extremely adaptive, you gotta take 3 negatives just to get the 1. I don't want to play that way. I don't particularly like any of the super big traits, so mine were generally downplayed. Ruler, you essentially, if your thing has a variation, you can change the variation to what your first ruler looks like. This one is where you get to choose your homeworld. Now this is very interesting, because the homeworld you choose is the one that you want 100%. The ones on the side are 80%. Or are they 80 or are they 60? I can't remember. It's either 80 or 60. I know that these are the ones you don't want at all. So whatever one you choose, there's going to be two on the exact opposite that you can't have it at all. So if you choose continental, you can't do arid or tundra. You can't, if you got tropical, you can't do tundra or arctic at all. You can do these two relatively happily. These two with general kind ofness, like they won't be happy, but it's enough for you to survive on. But overall, not. Then you can choose what you want your city to look like. Because if you look over here, you can see what it looks like. Like Mammalian looks like a kind of futuristic Earth. Reptiles have a more kind of chic look. Avians, everything's very pointy. Fungaloids, everything looks like a fungus. Mollusks, they kind of look like shells. And anthropods look like hives. So, and then, like, it's not exclusive to one race. You can be a mammal and choose, like, a mollusk or a reptile or anything. You don't have to choose the mammal. So it's all up for grabs. Government and ethics. This is essentially how your race is going to interact with the world. You have 3 ethic points. These outside take up 2. And they're essentially double what their base is. Or you can choose 3 of these inner ones. And then depending on the combination you get, will unlock which of these you can have. Like usually it's democracy, so every 5 years, every 40, 50 years, or there's just one absolute ruler. So it all depends on what it wants. Like if you want spiritualists, they're like the churchgoers, like praise be this star. You see them in a lot of sci-fi movies. There's the militarists, so everything wants to fight, or you're not bad enough to back down. There's the opposite of that, which is pacifists, which they don't like to fight, but they actually get minuses when they fight. If you look down there, they get embassies, so you want to peacefully take everyone over, probably start a federation or two. These two are opposed, so when you meet an alien opposite you, it affects their opinion of you, and then it takes a lot longer to build up. There's the collectivists, which is slave tolerance. You can enslave your own race and such. We won't be doing that. There's the individualists, where everyone matters. Like it's all about the individual, not the collective. There's the xenophile, which my race will be, and we'll show that later on. Which means you love aliens. You're happy they're out there. And that is me in a nutshell. I want there to be aliens. I want to meet the aliens. I want to give them a big old hug. Or the opposite of that, xenophobe. You're afraid of the aliens. You don't want the aliens. They mean no good. Only you are right. Like, think, for those of you Christian out there, I'm sorry, I'm going to use it. Well, actually, no, I'm going to do this. Extremist, and I'm very, very focusing on this word, extremist views of either Muslim or Christianity. Like, think just what's going on now, where if you're not one of them, you gotta die, and you're inferior, and all that stuff. Or for Christianity, essentially the crusades, like you either convert or die. That's essentially what a xenophobe is. You don't like that there are other aliens out there. They don't match with what your picture of the universe, so you either exterminate them, or they're lesser beings and you enslave them. I don't like that. I want there to be other aliens out there. I'm excited. I can't wait till we make our first giant spaceship and go shooting off to the stars and high five whatever alien on whatever moon we come across. I want that. But let's see, we did spiritualists, militarists, collectivists, pacifists. Yep. So that's all of those, and then these are essentially the bigger versions. Like if you look at this, it's double what it is, and it costs twice the points. Then the empire name you can choose. That's essentially whatever giant bit of star space that you collect. That'll be you. The flag you can make. Like, I love this feature. Like if you do a primary and secondary all one color, it changes it to one color. So you can have single colored flags with a symbol, you can have double colored flags with a symbol. All these different things, like there's just a bunch of wide variety options you can do. And I wish that you could change what this thing looks like. So if you wanted it to be the dodecahedron, like, or not decahedron, I can't, heptagon. You can like change it to a flag, maybe change it to just like a V kind of shape or something. But they got what you got. Maybe in a patch. Maybe in a patch. That's all we can hope. Then, yep, back to starting weapons, FTL methods, and ship appearance, where you can choose what you want your ship to generally look like. Kind of metallic, kind of sleek. I don't exactly know what this is. Avians, I like their ships, but what we're going to be playing today is this last race I made, the Fungaloid Conglomerate. They're indirect democracy, so every 5 years they get a new leader. They're xenophile. They love meeting new people. They start on tropical worlds. They do wormholes, so they carve out a space for themselves. They don't go after other people's stuff unless it invades their space. Like, because it's xenophile. They love meeting other people. But they're also a bit militaristic. And I only put that in because they're not going to back down from a fight. They're not going to start a fight, but they're not going to back down from a fight. So if other people start fucking with us, we're going to fight back. Right? They're materialistic, so they like fiddling with things. They like stars and gems and all that stuff. They are the Spiridians. They're slow breeders. So, like, this hunk of a fungus takes a while to get big enough to get sentience. But because of that, they get an extra 30 years to life. So, like, it's essentially what you got in today, where if it's usually a longer gestation means a longer life. They're nomadic, so they don't mind spreading out amongst the stars because they want to go everywhere. They want to see what's going on. They want to find all the new things and new sciences and new societies to watch. And they're resilient. So not only are they hardy and they can withstand all the kind of fungus sprays the other people have, they can also... I mainly did this for garrison and fortification defense because we're going to be playing a very defensive kind of game. Essentially, the wormholes, we're going to create a big carve out, and then we're going to take care of everything inside of that. And then we're going to build that out, and then we're going to kind of expand it a bit and defend. Like, if they come into our space, they're attacked. Otherwise, we're going to just slowly go outwards. Alright, and this is what we're going to be playing today. Number of stars, we're going to have the maximum we can get. Actually, I like the spiral forearms because that looks really pretty, and it makes the map a little bigger because it still needs 1,000 stars, so it kind of stretches it out a bit. And it also helps because there are like empty spots, so in between stars, so it's not a bunch of stars in a complete circle. And I like what this looks like. AI empires, we're going to do not 39. No, hell no. 30. We're going to do 30 AI empires, and 8 of them are going to be more advanced than us. Difficulty, on higher difficulties, AI empires that are not subjects of players get bonuses to their economy and research and are less likely to ally with us. Well, Paradox decided there's no need for an easy game. They went the Dark Souls route. So it's either normal, hard, or insane. There is no easy. Easy is the normal. FTL method, this essentially restricts everybody to the same kind of tech. Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. Because it's more fun the more different kinds of travel there are. Because not everywhere is going to have the same kind of travel. And then Iron Man mode. I have no idea what this is. In Iron Man mode, console cheats are disabled and the game is automatically saved regular to a single file. And the game plays with the setting, there are no turning back. So you stick to it, it happens. We're going to do something kind of like this. I don't want to turn that on because I don't want autosaves and then I want to be able to save for the videos. So we're whatever happens, but we're still gonna like save regularly. All right. So we're starting a new game for the Fungaloid Conglomerate. And look at this. In the eon since the first primitive Spiridian communities took shape in the dense jungles of Valu, our civilization has spread and prospered. We were driven towards a steady scientific progress, and armed conflicts between nation-states become increasingly rare. The framework of a global democratic government was eventually laid, and when the last holdouts voluntarily joined, we stood united as a single nation. Now, after the successful creation of artificial subspace wormholes, the finest minds of the Fungaloid conglomerate have finished construction of the first wormhole station at the edge of our system. The stars themselves are finally within our grasps. Bravo. Oh. This little man is who I like to call Jarvis. He is essentially the fun help droid of the game. Alright, so you can either have a full tutorial, tips only, or no tutorial. Well, since this is a Let's Play, I'm going to do tips only, but it is kind of, if you played Civilization, there's a lot of common elements once you know what everything is. So, we are finally starting our voyage to space, and we will start that in the next video. Thank you, everybody. This is the Dandy Man, signing off for the first time, hopefully for many times to come. I hope you enjoyed watching.